You can be done, Auntie.
I can start?
Yes.
Om. 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 Saishwaraya vidmahi Satyadevaya dhimahi Tanna sarva prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya vidmahi Satyadevaya dhimahi Tanna sarva prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya vidmahi Satyadevaya dhimahi Tanna sarva prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam, everyone. We start from chapter 16, The Oppressed Are My Children. When Sri Kasturi was principal of the college in Davangere, Karnataka, he had an attendant called Anantapa. That man had great devotion for Swami. He would gather puja materials like flowers, fruit, joss sticks, and camphor needed for the bhajan in his master's home. To ensure that they were of the best quality, he would scout the entire market, shop by shop. Standing in front of Swami's picture in the house, he would implore him most pitiably to let a flower drop into his hand. He would be alone in front of Swami's picture, conversing with him. When a faded garland removed from Swami's image was given to him, he would treat it as a holy prasadam. One day, Swami gave one of his photographs, a large one, to Sri Kasturi and told him, "Take this to Devanjari and place it in Anantapa's temple." Anantapa's humble Shranti truly became a temple by Baba's word. Vibhuti was dropping out of that photograph and countless people came seeking it. Once Swami remarked also that Anantapa was like Vibhishana in Sri Lanka in Ramayana. The husband of Anantapa's younger daughter was working in the Department of Railways in Mysore. The couple stayed in an obscure house in Bangalore. That fellow was of a suspicious nature. He doubted his and his wife's chastity. He harassed her incessantly. She was confined into a room like a prisoner. Nobody could intervene and bring him to the path of reason. Unable to put up with such persecution, the poor woman implored her husband to take her to Sri Satya Sai Baba in Puttaparthi. If Baba declared her to be chaste, she said, her husband would let her be in peace. Otherwise, she would end her life in Puttaparthi itself. Anantapa, his wife, the daughter, and son-in-law traveled to Puttaparthi. Swami was all kindness. He invited them into the interview room and told Anantapa, son-in-law, "Your wife is illustrious and as pure as Sita, wife of Lord Sri Rama. She's like goddess Parvati, consort of Lord Shiva." He tried to reason with him, but the fellow did not relish Swami's words and became abusive. Swami threw him out and closed the door on him. He advised Anantapa not to worry. He also assured him that the man would surely mend his ways soon and live in happiness with his wife. On the way back, they reached Penungonda late in the night. They sat in the railway station awaiting the midnight train from Kundakara. Anantapa's son-in-law went blabbering and rubbishing holy men and mendicants. Anantapa was distressed because the man had not obviously changed his evil ways. The train steamed in at midnight. The boy helped Anantapa, his wife and daughter, into a first-class coach off the train and boarded a third-class coach himself, who traveled in a first-class coach as he was a railway employee. At about 1 a.m., an hour after midnight, the train stopped at a station called Tondi, Bavi. Suddenly, Anantapa's son-in-law began screaming in pain and moaning loudly. Hearing the disturbing noise, the guard came into the coach. Railway staff in the station also gathered to find out what's happened and what was the problem. The fellow was found rubbing his cheeks. Terror-stricken, he was furtively looking all around. The guard asked him, "Who entered this compartment and slapped your cheeks?" Weeping and moaning, he got down from the train, went and sat in the station master's room and told him what had happened. About 6 miles ahead of Tondibavi station, he said, lights in the compartments were suddenly switched on. I got up and sat on my berth. There was reddish illumination as if Sai Baba had filled the whole space. Baba started slapping my cheeks. He was always the space around me, and I was receiving slaps from every direction. As he beat on my cheek, he was saying, "You refuse to believe me when I say that your wife is innocent and chested? Will you stop harassing her or not? She's my child, not only she, all the oppressed are my children. Will you obey me? Will you?" As the train approached this station, the reddish illumination disappeared. Normal bright light took its place. After this incident, there was radical transformation in the couple's life. They started living amicably in complete harmony and love. After a few months, Bhagwan Baba was conversing with some devotees. He said that Sai Baba would often display anger, but this present avatar was one of love. Sri Kasturi meekly interjected, "Swami, in this present avatar, did you not beat anyone?" Baba replied, "I'm now the personification of love." But Sri Kasturi persisted, "In this avatar, haven't you beaten anybody else?" To that, Swami said, "Are you referring to Anantapa's son-in-law? What I did to him was only out of love for him." Sri Kasturi said, "Swami's love and grace were amply showered on that poor simple girl." The ever-compassionate Baba added, "Yes, on that son-in-law too. Goat and mine." A king called several villagers together and gifted each of them a goat with an order that every animal should be well fed by its keeper. But he imposed just a single condition. When the goats were brought back to him and ordered, they should not be eating green leaves at all. In fact, they should display total distaste for leaves. As an incentive to the villagers, he announced a reward of 10,000 rupees to the villagers who would successfully tend the goats as directed. The villagers thought that if a goat was fully fed and if its stomach was full, it would take nothing more. It would refuse even green leaves. So they made it a habit to feed the animals so fully that they would not wish to touch anything. A girl, however, followed a different method of training her goat. She placed green leaves before the goat, and when the animal was about to feed on them, she gave a beating on its mouth with a stick. Repetition of this procedure had the effect of deterring the animal from touching green leaves even when they were placed right before it, although its stomach was not full. Sometime later, the king ordered the villagers to present the goats for inspection. He found that the goats started eating leaves as soon as they were placed before them. But there was one goat that was not even looking at the leaves. Instead, it was looking at the stick its keeper held. The king was delighted and promptly presented 10,000 rupees to the girl who successfully trained that particular goat in the manner ordered by him. Control of mind also requires similar hard training and severe discipline. Arjuna eminent that he was admitted. Chanchalam ki mana Krishna, pramadi bala dridam. O Krishna, mine is unsteady and fickle, confusing, strong, and inflexible. He prayed to Krishna to enlighten him on how to subdue and control such a difficult and unruly mind. There's no doubt that the only way to conquer the mind is to practice arduous and relentless spiritual discipline sadhana. Om Sri Satya Sai Brahmane Namaha. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. End of chapter 16. Sai Ram.
Chapter 17. Manava Seva is Madhava Seva. Service to man is service to God. Service is the most difficult of the 9 steps to inner reality. It is basically action arising out of the yearning to win the grace of God. It is the most important step to erase ego. Through service alone can man attain mastery of senses, the passions, and predilections, and through that reach divinity itself. I have come to teach you the proper attitude of service. For love expresses as service, and God is love. Service of man leads to the discovery of man as God. Baba. Swami addressed a huge gathering of his devotees who were anxiously planning to celebrate Bhagavan's 60th birthday on a grand scale. He said, "Spirituality has no meaning to a person suffering from hunger. To the hunger-stricken, bring God in the form of food. To the distressed and distracted, in the form of peace. To the sick as medicine, and to the afflicted, a remedy for the affliction. Only thus can spirituality enter one's heart. Anything done otherwise produces agnostics and atheists instead of believers. Before you celebrate my 60th birthday, adopt at least 6,000 villages and transform them into ideal villages. The spiritual benefit deriving from japa, silent repetition of mantra, tapas, penance, yagna, oblation, and yaga, religious sacrifice, will accrue from divine love alone. And of all the means to attain divine love, seva, service to mankind, is unrivaled. You must grasp the essentiality of my prema tattva, love. Whatever Sai does, or thinks, or says, or sees, it is entirely for your sake, and not for Sai's sake. I have no happiness of my own. Your happiness is my happiness. I have no desires whatsoever. You may think Sai is doing this or doing that. Nothing is for myself. Everything is for you. Believe it or not, not a paisa is being spent for me. Whatever is being done is for society. For 56 years now, not even a paisa has been spent for getting a single shirt made for me. I wear only those clothes that loving devotees offer to me. The shirt I am wearing at this moment has been given by a student, Radha Krishna. The thought that I want something for myself never occurred to me, nor does it occur now. Such a thought will never come to my mind in future too. Whatever I will, it is for the welfare of the world. Understand this clearly, develop enthusiasm in the various programs and activities, and actively participate in social service. It is important that you carry out Swami's ideals and activities more particularly in villages than in towns. Minimize your own expenses and utilize maximum amounts on providing facilities needed by villagers. If facilities are adequately provided in every village, Bharatiya Tattva, Indian ethos, and Bharatiya Samskriti, Indian culture, will effectively reach one and all. O embodiments of divine self, Divya Atma Swarup Pulurara, you may not be able to see, but I see everything as scenes moving before my eyes. The very same persons who are today unable to understand Swami's Tattva are destined to experience it in tears sometime in the future. The Sai Tattva, or Sai philosophy, is very shortly going to spread throughout the world. Swami is himself holding it back tightly, but once it is let loose, it permeates the entire world like an irresistible force. The world will be transformed into Prashanti Nilayam. Realize the essentiality of Swami and come forward to implement Swami's ideals. You will get no such opportunities later. You will not find it possible to get so close to Swami. Millions and millions of people will rush here. Those days are coming very soon. From this day onwards, try to earn Swami's love and compassion and fulfill your lives by taking up suitable activities in the service of the mankind. Take one step towards me, I will take 100 towards you. This was the time when there were severe problems in Bosnia, and hundreds and thousands of refugees were sheltered in specially built camps, who were waiting return of peace. A Bosnian woman, an ardent devotee of Baba, felt it her duty to do some service to the unfortunate refugees. She carried baskets of bread and packets of biscuits in her van over a long distance and distributed them in the camps. She also gave each of them a packet of vibhuti and a photograph of Swami. While eating, they were looking at Swami's photograph and talking among themselves in their own language. She could not follow what they talked to each other. She was inquisitive to know, in particular, what they had said while looking at Swami's image. She therefore sought help from the driver of her van. He went to them and returned after a while. He told her what they were saying to each other. This man, in the picture, has been giving us bread and biscuits every day, but today, apparently, he gave them to her and asked her to distribute them. She was very much surprised to hear these words. In a meeting held during the summer training classes in Vrindavan in 1996, that Bosnian woman was permitted by Swami to speak. She narrated the above incident and added, if we take one step forward for doing good, Swami will be there ahead of us all the time.
Hanuman and Vibhishana in discourse. Vanaras of Ramayana were born as monkeys. Nevertheless, they served God as humble servants and gained relief from the cycle of birth and death, having been blessed with the good fortune of seeing God in their midst. Human beings are by no means inferior to Vanaras. Why then do they not devote their lives to worship of God and meditation? It is not enough to remember, Smaran God. One should enter heart and soul into divine activity. Hanuman and Vibhishana became good friends. One day Vibhishana approached Hanuman in great distress and said, Hanuman, how fortunate you are. Every day you do Smaran of Lord Rama and have fully earned Lord Rama's grace. No doubt I too have been doing Namasmaran of Sri Rama for a long time, but I am not blessed with the opportunity of seeing Lord Sri Rama. Hanuman explained the position. You are no doubt doing Smaran of Sri Rama, but did you ever participate in Sri Rama's activities? How can you earn Sri Rama's grace without doing that? It is now a full 10 months since Devi Sita has been in Lanka. Did you ever console her and try to alleviate her suffering? Did you ever meet her and have her darshan even once? Did you ever think of some way to relieve her agony? If you had done any of this, it would have amounted to service to Lord Sri Rama. You have failed to avail of the fine opportunity that has come your way. As for me, I have dedicated my life to Sri Rama, chanting Sri Rama's name with my mouth and doing Lord Rama's work with my hands. While describing the above discourse between the two devotees of Lord Rama, Bhagavan Satyasai concluded, therefore our conduct should always be Ram in heart, Kam, work service in hand, Dil mein Ram, Haath mein Kam. Life dedicated to these two principles is truly fulfilled, Sarthak. Bhagavan Baba once said, you are not doing service for others. You are doing it always for yourselves, to the God in you, the God who is equally present in others. Service leads to heaven. Bhagavan Sri Satyasai attaches immense value to willing and selfless service. In fact, he declared that it is the most supreme of all spiritual efforts, sadhana. He said, many distressed persons flock to Prashant Nilayam, having lost their peace of mind due to various problems. Among them are some persons who are bodily and mentally ill. My job is to treat everyone. While the doctor finishes the principal treatment, nurses, compounders, and attenders take over and do the rest of the job. In the same way, I am providing you volunteers several opportunities for service. Na karmana, na prajaya, dhanena, tyagena amritatvamanasoho. Neither spiritual deeds, as ordained by scriptures, nor begetting worthy offspring, nor earning wealth will confer relief from the cycle of birth and death. Sacrifice alone can bring immortality, Amrita Tattva. This is the truth proclaimed by the Vedas. Mental readiness to do sacrifice, Tyaga Buddhi, coupled with absolute selflessness, should mark one's service. That is the only highway to reach Paramapada, God's abode. Service Seva occupies the most exalted position among all kinds of sadhana. God Himself has incarnated in human form to serve mankind through resuscitation of dharma, and He is undertaking numerous programs of service. In such a situation, if man too comes forward to dedicate himself to selfless service, there can be no doubt that God's grace will be assured. It is not necessary that service should be confined only to the presence of Prashanti Nilayam. Serve the suffering, the poor, and the needy wherever you find them, in your village or the place to which you go on pilgrimage, or anywhere else, and at any time. Normally, water by itself costs nothing, but combined with milk, the same water gains in value. In the same manner, if you add a bit of your service to any of the holy activities of Swami, your contribution acquires greater weight and significance. Once, Lord Sri Krishna asked his poet saint devotee Surdas, what would he desire to have? And he quickly added, leave it. Will you agree to be my servitor? Surdas humbly replied, Krishna, if I become your servant, it may generate ego in me. Moreover, what service can I do to you? There are innumerable persons who possess the necessary devotion, ability, competence, and also facilities for doing service to you. However, any number of your lowly servitors are there who themselves need succor and help. Bless me with good fortune of serving such unfortunate persons. If you would like to please me and satisfy me, you need only to see me in every living being, serve all living beings as you would serve me and worship me. That alone is the most appropriate procedure of worship. That alone is the holy path that brings you to me. Maintain spirituality throughout your life. Speaking to students in Kodaikanal, Bhagwan Baba once narrated a delightful parable which was as amusing as it was profound. Once all vegetables in the world entered into dispute about which of them was the greatest. Unable to come to an agreement, they prayed to Lord Brahma, Lord Sri Mahavishnu, and Lord Maheshwara to intercede and decide. Responding to their prayers, the three gods came down to earth. They heard every vegetable with all the sympathy, patience, and understanding that the sensitive issue deserved. Finally, they decided that a particular vegetable was the greatest. What is that? The humble onion. All other vegetables were astounded. Each of them possessed admirable qualities. How could these gods decide that onion was the greatest? Sensing their grievance, the gods spoke up. They said, there is no doubt that all of you possess commendable qualities, but onion has one additional and special trait which none of you can boast of. That is to retain the same smell unchanged throughout life. That is why we have decided in its favor. Be like the onion. Whether you are happy or unhappy, comfortable or suffering, never abandon your trait of being devoted to God. This explanation satisfied all the aggrieved vegetables. Softly stroking his beard, Lord Brahma wished the winner. As long as I exist, may you possess a beard like me. If you look closely at onion, you will find a thin beard adoring it. Lord Vishnu blessed the onion. Cut vertically, you will display one of my insignia, the Sankha. Cut horizontally, you will reveal another my insignia, the Chakra. Cut an onion and you will notice this. Lord Shiva blessed it. I will give you a guarantee. Anyone trying to harm you is condemned to shed tears. This too is well within the experience of everybody. The simple tale of humble vegetable conveys a profound truth. A person who possesses staunch, unwavering devotion to God is supreme. He will be righteous. He will be blessed with God's grace. Nobody can cause harm to him. Om Sri Satya Sai Parabrahmane Namaha. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino bhavantu samastalokaha. Sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Sairam, just a reminder to everyone. So tomorrow we will be reading the final chapter. We actually have a whole program organized online from 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. So we hope to see all of you join us online via Zoom. We'll send the link out soon, and it will be 7:30 to 9 p.m. where we will read the final chapter and then have some other offerings at the same time. Thank you, Sairam.